Okay, this is really part two to the first video I shot a couple days about the Peavey T-15 guitar that I just got. And there were a few adjustments and repairs I had to make, and just to briefly go through what I did to the guitar since the end of the last video, which I'll link somewhere there or there or there maybe. But the first thing, I guess, and the most major thing that was wrong with it was that the tab on the pickup that holds the height adjustment screw had broken off from the pickup. So luckily that was just a matter of applying some super glue to it, and that fixed the issue. I had to restring it, of course, so I took the bridge off, and I want to talk a little bit about the bridge because it was a little bit of a challenge. I do like that it's like one big chunk of metal, because I think that will help, the sustain and all that. But first of all, the actual bridge piece is like one piece of solid metal, which is okay. But it's got a little peg on it, and it sits in a track, and it can be adjusted up or down. But I don't know if you see, like right here and right here, you've got these two little adjustment screws that that's your only adjustment for intonation, really, is you can set the depth of these two screws so it'll either stop the bridge short or push it back. But you only have two screws, so you can't, if you individually adjust the saddles, you kind of have to adjust the whole thing at once. And that would be okay, I guess. But the thing that I found surprising was that these are like headless screws, so you can't get a screwdriver in there and do it. So it's almost like you have to check your intonation, and then, okay, I'm a little sharp, and then take the bridge off or take the strings off and adjust it a little bit. And maybe you could get a little set of pliers in there and turn the screw. But I'm just really shocked that it doesn't have a screw head that you can turn with a screwdriver. And same with the height adjustments. You'll see like a hole here and a hole here. They're just like the same thing, little headless screws that while the bridge is off you can raise and lower, but when the bridge is on you can't. So it's like once the bridge is on you can't adjust it. So you kind of have to put it on and string it up and say, oh, okay, well, I need to raise it a little bit, and then take all the strings off and then raise it a little bit and then put it back on. So I'm sure it doesn't have perfect intonation right now, but I could see taking all day to do that. But anyway, enough about the bridge. The finish, I mean, it's a natural finish guitar, of course, but when I first took it out of the case, it was just like super dry, looked like bare wood almost. So I didn't do too much to it, but I did take some lemon oil and just started rubbing down the surface until basically it wouldn't absorb the oil anymore, just to give it a little bit of moisture. Because like I said, looking at the case, it looks like it had been sitting in a basement or a garage somewhere for a long time, because it was like had dirt and dust over it. So I think it looks pretty nice. So you're going to get a little bit of glare from the light, but you can definitely see the wood grain a little bit more now. The electronics were in pretty good shape. I didn't have any. The knobs weren't real scratchy or anything. I did shoot a little contact cleaner in there, but it didn't necessarily need it. The pickup selector is a little bit loose, I guess, that you could barely tap it and it would go to the next position. So I think that's just age. So I'm not going to replace it, but it's a little bit loose in there. The tuners are these, I guess, for lack of a better word, Fender style tuners. The strings on here are like brand new, so I don't really have a feel yet for how well these tuners work. I do know I've had to, every time I picked it up to play it over the last couple of days, I've had to like retune it. But again, the strings are brand new. So, and I guess another thing that's a little bit different about this guitar than most guitars that are made today is has a metal nut, which I've always heard that's the best kind of nut to have, just because when you play your open strings, it will sound the same as your fretted strings because it's vibrating against metal instead of plastic or bone or whatever. But again, I think this was made in 1983, so they did things a little bit differently back then. This was made in the USA. It's a short scale neck. I think it's like a 3/4 size neck, but it only has 20 frets. So, it wasn't, I don't think it was really like a student guitar or anything, because the body is as big as the regular guitar. It just has a little shorter neck. But if you're playing like rhythm guitars, things like that, that makes it like super nice to play. So anyway, enough about talking about it. I'm going to hook it up to my Peavey Delta Blues. I think it's only fitting I play a Peavey guitar through a Peavey amp, right? So I'll be right back. Okay, and one thing I maybe didn't mention is that the pickups too are, not like they're single coil, but they're like the rail pickups, which I guess, now those have kind of made a comeback in some certain applications, but maybe a little bit ahead of its time. In 1983, instead of the pole pieces, you have just one solid rail that goes across. I'm going to play on the bridge pickup now. So you see, you get a real good, somewhere maybe between a telly and a strat, country chicken picking kind of tone. And now this is both pickups. And then just the neck pickup. And now just playing some chords. Pretty good sustain. A little buzzy, but I think, in addition to being single coil pickups, I've got the computer, a light, and the camera going. Okay, so that's a clean demo. I'm going to put a little bit more gain to it and see how it sounds. Okay, now I'm on the Overdrive channel, but I don't have a lot of Overdrive. These pickups just, I don't know, to me just don't sound good if you try to really overdrive them. And you know, if you're looking for a metal guitar, look somewhere else. But just take a listen. Listen, this is like maybe the gain halfway up on the Overdrive channel. And that's the bridge pickup. Both pickups. And the neck pickup. Okay, so there you go. $185. I don't think I could have gotten a much better guitar for that. Like I said, made in America, 1983, I think. Under 200 bucks on eBay. So I'm happy with it. You know, it's not the greatest guitar ever, but you gotta consider what it is, how it sounds, and the price you paid for it. So I think for, like I said, 185 bucks, I'd be hard pressed to find another guitar that can sound as good as this. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks.